There are many weird and wonderful build hacks in The Sims 4. The last time I tried something like this, I was really pleased with the result. So we basically made an entire house out of an upsized coffee table, a really modern looking house. And it went so well, I thought, you know what, we're going to build an entire neighborhood of coffee table houses. Not just coffee tables, any object. This monstrosity I made here is actually made out of this coffee table, which came with City Living. I just sized it up and then we used it basically as a house that you can build a wall around it and boom, it becomes a house. Now there is an issue. So if, for example, I go down to try and go inside of the house, you can see the little coffee table is in the way. I actually used a tool mod, which I showed off in my last video, but basically you place the object above the wall and then you artificially lower it down. And that's supposed to make it so, as you can see here, when I go down through the build, it disappears. It only appears when I'm looking from an outside perspective. Same with this one. If I go down, you can actually look into the house and it's not in the way. So I've made a two-tier, very dystopian looking modern mansion. I feel like, do you know what? If you're interested in the Satch behind the Sims, like I've been looking for an apartment recently, and there seem to be a lot of these like new build apartment complexes where they advertise it as luxury. It's not luxury. Like it looks something like this, very dystopian. They just marked it as luxury so they can up the price by 200%. So I kind of want to make these like one of these like luxury home places. Although I would like to have one either side, so I'm actually going to be copying it over. So to show you what I did with the tool mod, firstly I actually placed like a platform in between the two houses, and then I sized up the coffee table and I placed it directly on top of it here, making sure that obviously it matches perfectly in terms of the grid. That can be the very tricky part of all of this. So now I believe it is symmetrical. I then duplicate it and make another one, place this one in the exact same place, and then using the tool mod we basically bring it down. I believe bringing it down by 3.5 takes it down one proper level. And then the next one, would 7 be the next best thing? I believe that is right. There we go. And then obviously we can delete this room up here. So it's starting to kind of look like one of those apartment complexes, those tacky luxury ones. I was originally considering to make like the upper floor a separate apartment space, but because they're so small, I decided to make it like one apartment. So we had a little bit more room to work with in each house, because they are essentially kind of like tiny homes. And because of that, it's going to be very, very tough building in this space. Like, do we even have enough room for a bathroom? I don't think we do. Unless we give them all like a communal bathroom. That's like really dystopian. Makes me a bit uncomfortable. I mean, I was originally considering maybe dragging the whole thing across, but then if you did that, I think it would be a bit too unrealistic because, you know, the big pipe would run through the wall. So there's no other way really of like joining them together, which is a shame. The only thing I could think in order to fit a bathroom is to put a little space at the back, although I feel like it kind of breaks the immersion. I don't really want a space at the back like this. Like if we use like a back with a roof like this, would that look too bad? I mean, I don't think it breaks the immersion too much. I guess it makes the shape look even more quirky, so I'm just going to roll with it. We can always try and later on conceal it somehow too. But then we've also got to think about kitchens and things. It's very overwhelming, honestly. Like these kinds of builds are so stressful. Even in real life, tiny homes are much easier than they are in The Sims 4. Sims 4 tiny homes are absolutely wild. Although, you know, we could be a little bit different and put the kitchen upstairs. It would certainly make building this space a lot easier and a lot more flexible. I think that's actually quite cute looking, although I understand the window is clipping through the counter. That is triggering and I'm going to fix it at the end. I just can't deal with it right now. My brain can only do one thing at a time. And I mean, we have a space to eat here. Granted, it's literally right opposite the sink. A little bit unhygienic, but we're going to have to make do. Like I've noticed when I've been looking for apartments in real life, what they'll do is they'll build these big, ugly, like rectangular apartment buildings, and they'll just use like a matte black or a matte gray kitchen unit from IKEA, and they'll give it a gray carpet and bright white walls, and they'll market it as luxury. Like it's not luxury just because you chucked a bloody matte black kitchen unit in there. What are you talking about? Like, I know this is getting a little bit deep for a Sims video, but like I am suffering the housing crisis right now. Like, as you know, I live at home with I'm basically like a lodger at home. And I think it's one of those situations where like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like I kind of can move out, but I can't move out at the same time. It's a bit of a weird one. Just like this build, a little bit weird. I think the upstairs kitchen is genuinely a nice little space. I actually really like that. Although I feel like you can't go wrong with bathrooms. Like they're quite simple and easy to do. I've actually copied the bathroom bathrooms and the kitchens in all of the builds. I've just used slightly different decor in all of them, because I feel like if you were moving into one of these kinds of places, like every single place that you'd be renting out would look exactly the same, because that's what they do in real life in these luxury modern apartments. The only proper horrific thing is going to be a bed. I didn't think it through. Can we even fit like a double? I mean, we can fit a double bed. It's just like they won't have a sofa. So the two options we have are, firstly, we can use a bunk bed like this so we can fit loads of stuff underneath. The second thing is that we use a tiny living sofa bed. Either way, it's still going to take up the exact same amount of space, because that's how it works in The Sims 4. The tiny living pack was such a great idea, incredible idea. It was just implemented so badly. So I think we're going to have to go with a bunk bed. Again, I get the impression if you moved into one of these properties that literally every single one would have the exact same bed in it. It's just when you change the duvet cover, the whole swatch of the bloody bed changes. Honestly, Sims 2 was superior with its swatch system. Sims 4 is the worst out of all of them. You know, in The Sims 2, you could actually change the swatches of the duvet separately to the frame. So like it always looked different. I just feel like that's the best compromise. Although this is where we could do it slightly differently. I mean, seeing that this is like a guitar duvet here, we may as well actually put a guitar in the build. If we use a tall dresser like this, I think we could fit the guitar in just like on the side. I feel like a plush beanbag would suit a room like this very well. I don't think we have any beanbags in The Sims 4. We've got this. It's not the same, but it'll do nicely. Say nicely, I couldn't think of anything worse than bloody living in here. Although I definitely think we can use a modular dream home decorator units to our advantage. Yes, I am still ignoring the windows. We're not addressing those until we're completely done. My only concern is that we don't really have a TV in here, or what we could do. I mean, let's be brutally honest, like these houses, they're not functional. Like you couldn't live in here in the game. It wouldn't work out, but we're going to pretend, and we're going to put a TV up here. So it could be like, you know, you could watch TV from bed. I feel like that's the best kind of compromise. I wanted to make this one a bit more personalized. So I put posters up and around. I made this little kind of cubby music space. So the guy who lives here, he likes to play music. That's his thing. I wanted to make the second house a little bit different. I actually used a pastel pop kit and completely changed it up. I did leave the kitchen unit the same because I feel like a fitted kitchen unit is a fitted kitchen unit. Like you can't change that. I'll be honest with you, like I've never been the biggest fan of the whole like groovy chick girly stuff, but like I think the pastel pop kit is actually quite a good kit for making a certain kind of space. I also made a little kind of cute cubby thing going on here too. I actually watched Plumbella's videos recently and I noticed she used her pastel pop kit wallpaper in her like real office. I thought that was really cool. So I thought it'd be nice to use it here too. For the next space, I accidentally, I went a little bit mental. I used a lot of stuff from movie hangout stuff. I mean, this may as well be every tiny dystopian apartment is a different pack, because I did use a lot of that in here. Again, I left the kitchen as it was. I just styled it a little bit differently. For this one, I actually kept it the default look on purpose because I get the impression I like to make up people who live in the places before I build them. I got the impression that the guy who lives in here, he doesn't really care about the design. He's more of a functionable person. A lot of you guys criticize me and you say SatchOnSims, functionable is not a real word. It's actually functional. They're both real words. So I'm allowed to say functionable if I want to say functionable. Anyway, somehow I managed to fit this whole thing in here. God knows how I could fit that in there. And I put down a little PC in this little cubby space here too. And again, I left the upstairs relatively untouched. In terms of the windows, honestly, like I just don't want to address them. I'm not saying that out of laziness. I'm saying that out of like, I genuinely think it's an impossible task to try and fix a window situation. So sometimes, you know, you've got to pick your battles, and I'm just going to leave it how it is. What I want to do is create one more, something that I can pop here. And then around the back here, I want to make like a communal garden space. What could we size up here to turn into a whole house? I mean, do we size up this dream home decorator shelf? Do we turn it into some kind of pod house where we put like loads together? Do we size this up and place a house on like a blocky pedestal? Like maybe we could move them up and create like a different blocks, like a Super Mario thing. I don't know. Guys, let me know what we should do here. What can I size up? I want to know, because I want to finish this entire place as my little coffee table house build. And then once it's all done, we'll upload it on the gallery. If you didn't see the first episode of this, designing this coffee table house, I'll pop the link here. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.